Yuan Tong Ling Ming. There's a funny little thing happening. I really, truly would like to greet you with Yuan Tong Ling Ming. And this makes me become aware of how unconscious, at least I don't know about you, I often just say hi, or hello, or welcome. How we saying hi to people, how we greet people, how I greet people. Yuan Tong Ling Ming is a beautiful greeting. And I always do my best. And actually in web class, it's easy because I unify first before I even say hello to you. It's easy to be aware of what I'm actually saying. And still, there's always this little urge to also want to say welcome. After I greeted you with Yuan Tong Ling Ming. So that's a funny little thing because maybe because it's Chinese, it is the most beautiful greeting one human could actually give to another human, wish to another human. You know, Yuan Tong Ling Ming, Yuan the whole, Tong round, free flow, and Ling to be in the mental or consciousness state of the unified, where the most potential can manifest, creative and inspired, aware, and Ming, meaning being with your true self, being enlightened. Yuan also means, of course, total reality, or is a word that can remind us of, oh, there is such a thing as total reality. I wonder if that's a pattern that when I greet you, and I'm actually aware that I greet you, and then I want to say welcome or hello. So this is just something I've observed today. While greeting you, to say out loud. I'm observing it every week or every time I do a Yuan Ming free flow web class. Cute little thing. What you're seeing in the background is called the Wolfsklamm, which is like the gorge of the wolf. I've been there with Janse and Melissa. We've walked up there. I've also walked there with Elaine. And it is a magic walk, not far away from here in Stans in Tyrol. you walk many steps always along this gorge, and yeah, you see, you come by many pools like that. Laziness and procrastination. Let's unify with the Qifield first, and then let's look into what we can find about this information. If you like, put yourself into a good position for the unification. Draw your vision back, lifting up from Bai Hui, relaxing the whole body. And lifting up Hui Yin to lower Dantian. Go ahead and feel into yourself. Feel how you are turning into Qi. And expand this awareness of being Qi and information out to become one with the universe. Keep opening out. And observe how your state becomes altered, how a unified state is a different state. For now, eventually it won't be. Drawing back around, allowing the Qi and information to flow in and feeling the calmness inside. And if you like, you can keep your eyes closed, or if you like, you can open them. And just know that when you're staying in this state now, that more calm, that more natural. Of course, the information can penetrate deeper, and the Qifield can support you better in changing this pattern and all the patterns that this pattern is connected to. Laziness and procrastination. There is, of course, many aspects in life we can relate this pattern to. But this web class today, maybe we are going to use to relate it to total reality and the true self. And the Qifield is, of course, available the whole week over. And you can, in your Ling Yuan practice, always your Shen, your true self, your consciousness, and your Xin, your heart, your Shen, Yi, Xin, they will always work for what's most important at that moment, where you are at, and what is the next step that will be the most beneficial for your change. But in today's web class, we would like to start up basically in relating it to in my understanding, most important aspect of human life. That does not mean the only aspect, but it means the maybe most purposeful. And most important, why? Well, because of also what I've written in my sendouts this week to invite you all for this web classes. This pattern could be in itself responsible for not getting to the true self ever. Not ever being the true self. Because the effort that is needed to allow the true self to come out and absorb you is a lot. A lot of things need to be done, right? There is, well, first of all, from the perspective of Ren Shi, there is 9 Yuan Gong methods. So there is 4 methods for the moving body and qi and consciousness already, yeah? Just because they're moving methods doesn't mean that they don't do anything to our consciousness. But when we are too lazy to do them, or when we keep procrastinating, then simply with Tin Yuan, for example, Tin Yuan or pulling qi, when we don't experience this opening and closing of our consciousness and eventually of our qi and bodies, because this is what we are learning in Tin Yuan, the first method, and in pulling qi, we experience that our being, which is the Qifield that we are, can open and close, can expand and condense, can unify and accumulate. And the more we do that, the more we deepen the connection with the universe, which otherwise might appear to us this, well, this thing that we can choose to believe in or not, but it's never an experience. It's never a reality that we experience when we don't have these open and closing and this connecting with the universe, becoming the universe, and then drawing back again to what we understand as, in my case, Andrea, in your case, who you think you are. So let's say we procrastinate to never practice these methods. We probably will have a much longer way on this path to the true self, because the universe that gives us all we need, supplies us with everything we truly need, that, all the support we need, all the material we need. When we believe or not believe, or simply believe only that the universe is existing or exists or has something to do with us, so when we don't establish that connection through Tin Yuan and pulling qi, which doesn't mean that we don't do that with the other methods either, this establishing of this connection, but Qin Yuan is especially designed for that. To gather qi, yes, but to establish this connection with the reality of the universe. So, and if we don't do that in difficult times, when we go through difficult times, which when one really works honestly and diligently on patterns to attain the true self. If you don't run into difficulties, you're probably doing something wrong. Or, okay, that was maybe not wisely chosen, those words. You might be not giving it your best, maybe. Maybe if you've been at this since quite a while, on your pattern work, and maybe you were laughing with me, actually, because, yeah, the patterns are so stubborn, and the patterns make us, when we are in a pattern that's activated, we feel very uncomfortable because the cool, relaxed, calm, natural is gone. That state is not present when a pattern is active. And in a way, as long as we are in the true self, some pattern is always active. So simply from the perspective of Tien Yuan, it's very important to practice that very decently for a while, so that you are very experienced in your connection with the universe. So it becomes the reality that it is. And so that, even when other people say, no, that's nonsense, or when so for example, when you're about to start teaching, you want to stand there with integrity from the feeling inside. And when you say the universe exists and supplies you with everything you need, you for yourself don't want to just simply be doubting yourself, because people will feel that when you are teaching, right? So procrastinating or being lazy with Tien Yuan, when you start this whole journey, I don't know where you're at, whoever is watching. So that's related to Tien Yuan and pulling Qi, our pattern today. And then Di Yuan, if you haven't ever tried to, practice longer stretches of consistency or longer practices as well, you might never have experienced a deep state of unification where you do not actually feel your body anymore. So that doesn't mean that your body doesn't exist anymore. Of course not. As long as you are human, this is part of your total reality. Qing, Qi, Shen. But when that happens in Diyuan, that the body disappears in your perception, it means that now your consciousness has started to identify with something else stronger, with Shen, with Shin, with Qi. Usually when you don't feel the body anymore, even the identification with Qi is gone. That's when you experience to be consciousness only. So let's see how could that help you in your life? Having this experience of your identification with what you are changed to, I am consciousness. Well, that is really never ending. You will not identify with pain or disease as much or not at all, which will give you the 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 power, or which will put you into the potential. And here we go. It will give you the ability to, when you're in pain, you will be able to make yourself pain-free in that very moment. Because when you can switch to, hold on a moment, I am not only my body, which is what pain does to us very easily, to make us identify only with the body or that aspect of ourselves which is physical. It can also help you with also this experience and being able to override the laziness and procrastination in regards of the Yuan. It can also help you with, the big one in human needs, survival instinct and fear of death. Now imagine, on a deep layer of consciousness, there is always some fear of death. As long as you're not the true self, that's just very normal. Many people are only becoming aware of it when they get very sick, or when their body starts to decline with 60 or 70. Or when someone else dies in their family or friend circle, or a very famous person that they felt very affiliated with. For many reasons, we can be feeling connected to famous people. Just something that comes by my consciousness, drifting into the Qifield while I was saying this. Remember, I don't know if you remember, the day that Steve Jobs died, an icon on the computer IT, in the computer IT world, and the founder of Apple, obviously the founder of the iPod, iPad, and so on. Also, of course, always the whole branch is working together. But on that day, the whole world, there were many people all over the world were in mourning and were in shock. This didn't have all that much to do with him himself, but when the Qifield becomes so strong, when everybody connects, so when we are faced with this topic, death. What is death? We in Renshö don't even really, we use it, the word, to teach, but actually we call it transition, because from our perspective, death is even something that doesn't really exist. Yeah. So when we're faced with this topic by someone we know, and many people are faced with this, the Qifield becomes quite strong. The information becomes quite strong on that day. And so that's when many people become aware of that. Actually, I should look into what that is. So when we are too lazy or procrastinate, Yuan, constantly, when you haven't had these, until you haven't had these experiences, and you can be with this awareness that, I am consciousness, and I am consciousness mainly. Mainly meaning fundamentally first. Yeah? That doesn't mean the body is less important. It only means that usually we are very aware of the body, and not that we are alive consciousness. Ren Yuan, the third method, when you experience Shin Fa, when you experience how you are being moved by the Qi, and it's not that you are moving, no, it's the Qi moving your arm from inside. And it lifts your arm, it lifts your leg, it lifts your foot, it moves your whole body, it makes your spine curl, also curl, move in Yong Dong Fa movements, right? That's what we do in Ren Yuan, in all directions, sort of thing. If you don't have this experience of Shin Fa, you might not maybe ever get to this awareness that how Qi real is, how real Qi is. Sha Yuan, when you start seeing the colors inside, the Qi colors of the organs, meaning when you start seeing pure organ Qi, it can help you with the awareness that there is different types of Qi. And when you hear the vibration, when you feel the vibration of the sound, so when you are over the step of no longer hearing the sounds, but actually feeling the sounds while seeing the colors. And so you just become aware of that Qi, and the consciousness of the organs has a lot to do with your emotional health. And that you can work on your emotions when you work on these patterns of Qi, the patterns on the Qi level, which are tied to the patterns of the consciousness. 5 and 6 are about deepening the experience of feeling Qi, and feeling Qi being delivered to Shin, your heart, and Shen, and how it's circulating in certain channels. When you experience how your Qi channels actually extend out and become and are actually channels of the universe, it can help you hugely with your Gongqing, with your awe of life, and with your humility. You're just this little Qi bean on a string, basically. And it can help you with surrender. It can help you with the pattern and the urge to control. That can help you in turn with, okay, I don't need to dominate anything. Being able to overcome laziness and procrastination in Tongyuan, the 7th method, working on your Wu Xin, listening to these beautiful texts, almost poems, the way Yangtze wrote them. You might never experience them in that strength that they are possible to be experienced. Ling Yuan, you might never get answers for your replacements. And Ming Yuan, the night method, This is increasing all of the methods before, basically, the effects of all of the methods before. So overall, this pattern can have such a huge influence on our life, because when we don't get to do the practices, or not reading the theory of Qi, not reading the theory of Shen Yi, not reading the theory of totality. And with reading, I also mean maybe not taking part in classes who are, like for example, me today, just talking about the theories and explaining them and throughout the theories. Yeah? You might not have enough motivation to overcome your procrastination in practicing, because when we don't understand or we don't know that some things exist, how shall we get inspired and motivated to use this knowledge and to further study it? In the world that we live today, people who practice Yuan Qigong or Qigong in any form, mainly they still seem to be a little bit, well, maybe this is just my experience because of my patterns, but I find myself to being smiled upon, or I just remember the moment when I practiced with Tamara. I don't know if you know Tamara, but Tamara and I practiced once at the river. We practiced Tian Yuan and Di Yuan, and there were some teenagers around, and they were a bit further off, but they yelled over to us while we were practicing, "Hey guys, what did you smoke?" So in a way, and it's really interesting that when you practice Yuan Gong on the streets or under people, you hear a lot of funny stuff, a lot of interesting stuff. How many of you are practicing Yuan Gong outside under people who don't practice yet? Are you hiding still? This might be because you're still, that's procrastination. How should other people know that this is possible? So this pattern itself, if you make a good progress with laziness and procrastination, many other problems might disappear. That's basically, the main thing. How much longer do we want to wait for ourselves and for letting other people know? Taking time to go out and spread this knowledge and let other people know about it has something to do with the procrastination, and procrastination comes from some fears and insecurities. So in a way, when we get to overcome this pattern and replace it stronger and stronger with stronger and stronger replacement, meaning more practice, more Cha, also the ninth method of self-awareness and observation without judgment, without attachment, leading to realization, more healthy Qi in the body, more healthy body, therefore. This alone will bring you to freedom of the true self. So this is basically today what I have chosen to use our web class for, to help you deepen your connection with the universe, you deepen your connection with, well, Renshui, yes, because these methods have proven to be able to guide you to your true self simply because two of Jance's students made it, and many are in front of the door. And what else is there to talk about, really, other than attaining realization and wisdom, becoming the true self? So using the Qifield today, not getting lost, getting caught up in the, yeah, I'm lazy here and I'm lazy here, or yeah, oh well, I do that tomorrow, I do that next year, I do that then, and being caught up in this feeling that comes from, I mean, you know, I I don't like seeing myself as lazy. For example, what if you're someone who works a lot, takes care of, for example, your children, if you have some, or does a lot of studies for academic um, development, or a lot of, work for your employer or your business. So you don't see yourself as someone who is lazy at all. Or even if you practice very diligently the Yuan and Tian Yuan or Ren Yuan every day, or your squats. How about Ling Yuan? Sitting and unifying your heart with your true self, which is in there somewhere, and allowing it to fly already during the sitting and observing and inquiring into some questions. It's been many weeks that we are working on patterns in the Yuan Ming Free Flow web class. And it's been many years where Yance is talking about patterns of the consciousness. Why is there so many around of them? Well, at least now we're facing them. Yeah. So we focus on the replacement information rather than putting ourselves down, being lazy, and procrastinate to face the patterns. Can you see what we are percolating in today? What type of information? We're just percolating, right? We're just marinating, we're just sitting in this information to help us. And, the universe and the Qifield is going to support us because we are sitting in it, because we are, well, me, I'm talking about it, and I am, teaching, and you are sitting and learning, as well as it's vice versa. You are teaching me something too, for example, about humanity, because you're participating. I'm learning that humanity cares about themselves and about the true self and becoming the true self. So I'm learning as well. I'm also a student. And just feel the Qifield for a moment. Be open to it. There is no need to be scared of looking at, I am lazy and I procrastinate. Allow yourself to relate it, this pattern, relate the information to your true self. Allow yourself to take more action in the moment. What I mean with take more action in the moment is take the action of unifying, of relaxing, of calming down, of becoming your natural self. That action, the action of unifying, the action of directing your awareness to Qi, the support, the fact that there is support from the universe, the fact that there is a Qifield and the support of the Qifield. Procrastination and laziness also has a lot to do with the fear of failure. Yeah, I've studied often and I never kept going. So basically, maybe I just shouldn't even start anymore. So at least I don't have to, experience the disappointing myself. And of course, you please can relate it to whatever you would like to relate it to in your life, whatever aspect of your life. But when we can really adjust everything to the perspective, to relating it from the perspective of the true self, then what reason can we find for allowing ourselves to be lazy or allowing ourselves to put it off another day, another month, another year? The effort needed to allow the true self to come out fully. Qifield is very strong, very nurturing. It's very loving. It's very supportive. What else could be more important than doing the effort needed so the true self can come out? What other things do we put in front of it? And putting off or putting aside the work for the true self to come out. At this point, please also connect with every human being. Every single one is a true self, not with the finger up like this, like, pointy finger to them, but with love and compassion, send out this information to every human's heart. How long do you want to put off this work? Come on, join us. Send out this information to help everybody, to support everybody to overcome this procrastination and the laziness needed, the inconvenience the inconvenience of standing form, the inconvenience of facing the patterns. You can send out so much love to every human being because you have already been doing this work for a while, and you have received a lot of freedom probably. So this pattern in itself can give so much freedom, because if we just do the work needed, we will become free eventually. We could put this work off another lifetime. Just simply sit here in the Qifield, or maybe you are lying down. Allow it to flow in, the information, the Qi of the Qifield, and trust that it will help you. So I guess just the way I did relate to every method of Yuan Gong, this pattern, how I made an example out of relating it to every method, you can relate it to every single pattern. What if I keep procrastinating? Or what if I keep being too lazy to look at this pattern? So the polarized thinking, the overgeneralization. What happens when I keep putting off the work on unfounded suspicions, on the negativity, pessimism, withdrawal, and inactivity pattern? Or the fixed expectations, false assumptions, preconceptions, taking things for granted pattern? The greed pattern, greediness pattern, self-centeredness, stubbornness, avoiding and hiding. So we can see that laziness and procrastination, of course, has a very close cousin of avoiding and hiding. Laziness and procrastination is nothing but avoiding or hiding from things. How about the fighting for dominance and desire for victory? You know, every single time we feel hurt by someone or something, we are fighting for dominance. Because we want to be the dominator. We don't want to be hurt. And actually, we cannot be hurt by someone else or something else, because the true self is never hurt. The true self is never in pain. And of course, I could go through the 20 behavioral patterns now. We're just getting to know those now. You can relate this pattern towards every single one. Actually, you can relate every single pattern to all the others. This is also one reason for why laziness and procrastination can happen, because it feels like too much of work or too big a mountain that needs to be worked on. Anyway, you're here today, you're watching this, you're sitting in the Qifield, you are marinating. So you're allowing this pattern to be replaced to a degree. Maybe fully. It's all possible. So let's look at Jance's information about the pattern. Laziness refers to the mentality and behavior of being slack, disorganized, undisciplined, inert, passive, unmotivated, and lacking in action. So the mentality or behavior of being slack, disorganized, undisciplined, inert, passive, unmotivated, and lacking in action. In this, we can see that very often, laziness hides behind a fear, because when we say, well, I'm scared, we don't see that we are lacking in action or that we're inert or that we're passive. We only see, okay, I'm scared. Maybe we're just lazy. It's food for thought. Procrastination is often related to laziness. Procrastination refers to the mentality and behavior of unintentionally or intentionally slowing down or putting off an action that is necessary to accomplish a task, or causing a failure to meet the goal and standard or a timeline. Also intentionally or unintentionally slowing down or putting off an action that is necessary to accomplish a task, or is causing a failure to meet the goal and standard or timeline. And he brings a few examples here. Being consistently late and the habit of delaying things. Not being able to keep the work or living environment tidy and clean, and only cleaning and tidying up when it is absolutely necessary. Or rushing to get things done at the last minute, resulting in failure to meet the deadlines or to achieve the expected quality. Or knowing many problems and unhealthy patterns need to be dealt with, but not knowing where to start. Although the preparation period has been underway for a long time, one never feels truly ready. Related patterns include avoiding and hiding, indecisiveness, perfectionism, ignoring and avoiding action, lack of patience, exaggerating and debasing, shirking and shifting responsibility. One can feel discomfort such as pressure, anxiety, and fear when setting goals and planning. It creates a cycle of, first, a period of little action in order to relax, followed by two, a last minute sprint in fight or flight mode. Okay, let's look at this. It creates a cycle of, so first there is a period of, there is not so much action. There's a period of where we like, no, I need to relax, I need to relax. And so I don't take a lot of action. And this is followed by the second part of the cycle, which is a last minute sprint in fight or flight mode. Yeah? After this intense period, in order to relax, one goes back into the little action period until the next sprinting period. So we are between little action and then sprinting, and little action and sprinting. And life keeps following this cycle, causing one to experience unhealthy emotions such as stress, nervousness, uneasiness, anxiety, fear, self-blame, low self-esteem, sadness, self-sabotaging, and self-destruction or self-harm. It can also become a source of conflict with other people and frequent occurrences of things going wrong. It can also become a source of conflict with other people and frequent occurrences of things going wrong. One can feel exhausted, burned out, and overwhelmed from constantly being in fight or flight mode. Would you have related laziness or procrastination to frequent occurrences of things going wrong in your life? Makes sense though, right? When we keep procrastinating our responsibilities and obligations, of course things will go wrong in our life. Here come the relatively healthier consciousness and behavioral patterns. So, for transformation and replacement, work on related patterns on the Xinling and consciousness levels. So, heart and E. Make a consistent effort to identify, face, and change patterns. Get to know one's strengths and shortcomings. So get to know your strengths and your shortcomings. Make good use of the strengths and work on the shortcomings. Learn to plan and to put things in good order and strengthen one's ability to take action and execute a plan. Learn to manage time. Also, every person has the right to decide how to use his time. Good time management can create order in life and enhance efficiency, which is a better use of time. The next one is very interesting. It is important to learn to say no when it is appropriate to do so. Learn to be more decisive and avoid practicing perfectionism. Important to learn to say no when it is appropriate to do so. Why? Because that's what keeps you out of this cycle of needing to relax so much that you can't take any actions. And from there, going into the sprinting fight flight rush. So if you say no at appropriate times, you have more time for what you truly need to do. And you don't have, when you learn to say no when it's appropriate, you also don't get put in a place where the things you don't need to do for your life and for benefiting your life and others' lives, so you don't need to resist them, and so you don't need to try to push them away or keep them away from yourself. So everything you do becomes this lovely thing that you like doing. So, and therefore also learn to be more decisive, to make decisions easier, yeah? And to avoid practicing perfectionism. When you don't have to do everything perfect or anything perfect, you won't have so much fear of doing something. And so then the laziness or procrastination can't catch you, because you won't need to relax so much beforehand. Examine on a deep level to see if there is fear of failure or fear of success. One moment. On a deep level of consciousness, see if there is fear of failure or fear of success. And if you find it, it is necessary to work on it. This is why we feel we are lazy sometimes, because we fear success. So better not getting started. Or we feel failure, better not getting started at all. And whoop, we are actually in the drawer of lazy. Cultivate the habit of completing a task first and then relax. Prioritize according to importance and urgency, and allow sufficient time for tasks. Yeah? So organization obviously is important as well. So a lot of information. Go ahead and please sit up. For the practice of Yuan. And if you had your eyes open, Draw back your vision. Gently closing your eyes. Put your body into a position where you can sit comfortably. And of course, you can gently move your spine or your legs if you need to. So choose a position in which you can do all that without disturbing yourself in the observation. And open out once just to remind yourself of the universe and the Qifield. Unify with it even deeper. Be aware that the Qi is streaming in and the information is streaming in. And that your heart and consciousness keep connecting with the totality. You are in a unified state. Gently direct your awareness into lower dantian and do dantian breathing. When you inhale, dantian is drawing together. When you exhale, dantian is expanding because you're breathing into dantian through your exhalation. When you inhale, Qi and the universe compresses into dantian, into the core. When you exhale, that information and Qi is distributed in all of dantian and therefore expands. Inhale, contract. Exhale, expansion. Try to feel your dantian compress and expand. We're going to do this for a few minutes. Now gently allow the Qi and your awareness to rise up to Xinling, from lower dantian to the heart consciousness. Breathe into your heart, your Xinling, the same way. Inhale, compress. Exhale, expansion. Expand out your Xinling to heaven, earth, and human. They are all teachers with infinite wisdom. Tell yourself that I open my Xinmen to love and trust them unconditionally. With gratitude in my heart, I receive their love and compassion and their wisdom. And I unify with it. My Shen, Yi, and Shin are fully aligned with the light of Tao. With Gongqing, realization and wisdom are arising. I am one with the light of the wisdom of the universe. Now your heart is wide open. Allow it to expand upwards to become one with Shen, your head. Shen is your head is the seat of Shen, the center. And your Xinling and Shen-Yi have become one. Now feel your desire to change yourself and feel the incredible power of your creativity. Your heart is the best inquirer, meaning can ask all the right questions, all the important questions. All you need to know about yourself and your life. And your Shen, with its infinite potential and wisdom, will bring you the answers. Now trust your Shen and heart, and ask yourself if you recognize this pattern of laziness and procrastination in your life, and what are the manifestations. So, how and when, in which topic, in which area or aspect of your life can you recognize those manifestations? And the heart will ask, Shen, please show me the causes and the deformation and development of this pattern so I have more understanding about how it became this inside of me. Why do I keep this up still? Why? What are the explanations and excuses, the validations? Why do I hold on to this? And what are the possible negative effects if I keep holding on to it? I am brave enough and courageous enough to see those possible negative effects. Maybe I can then circumvent them, because what is my intention of what to do with this pattern? And whenever I'm ready, please, Shen, dear Shen, please show me replacement information, replacement patterns, possible ways of how I can replace this, what I can do instead, the laziness and the procrastination. And from there, you can go into affirming through every single of the Wu Xin with trust that the universe will help you replacing, with openness on your behalf so the universe can help you. And your Shen, trust your Shen to help you change. And then love those changes. Love this replacement information. Don't worry about failure or success. Just love the replacement information you will receive, the possibilities of change. Love them and accept them. Be grateful for them. And then you will be able to respect them and to humbly allow them to help you and be inside of you. Now simply open yourself to all these questions and answers. And then finish up whenever you are ready in silence.